Hello, you're watching ASAO channel. I'm Jasper, and today I'm going to be talking about July in the UK. Let's start the questions. Are there any special events in July in the UK? So there aren't really any traditional events in July in the UK, but as I mentioned last month, the music festivals continue and there are lots of sports events that happen in July in the UK. So for example, you must know about Wimbledon in the tennis. We've also had the European Championship, or the Euros, in the football this year, which has been different from most years where one host country would take all of the matches in that country. But because of COVID, the matches have been spread out across Europe this year. So a lot of the matches were played at Wembley Stadium in London, and then others were in France and in, I think, Hungary and Germany, some other countries as well. And we got into the final. England got into the final, and we lost in the final. It was so terrible. Next year is the World Cup. So also, of course, there's the Olympics this year, but that obviously is not in England, but it's a big thing for us to be watching at the moment. Otherwise, I think that's it for July. The summer holiday begins towards the end of July in Japan. When is the summer holiday for students and company employees in the UK? In terms of students at school, the majority of schools have about 6 weeks break in the summer. So in about mid-July, the holiday starts until the beginning of September. And for some private schools, it's actually 8 weeks. So it starts at the beginning of July and then ends at the beginning of September. So we get long summer holidays as children, which is a lot of fun. But I think that by the time the holiday is over, we start to get a bit bored and want to go back to school to see our friends and things like that. A lot of people would go on holiday abroad during this time. And so as students, sometimes towards the end of August, a lot of people go away. And so if you're not going on holiday with your family, then the students can get a bit lonely and then they feel like, oh, I want to go back to school to see my friends. In terms of companies, it really depends on the company if they have a summer holiday or not. I think probably most people don't, but we tend to have a certain allocation of annual leave that we can take. So I think some parents will take a week off or 2 weeks off in the summer to go on holiday with their family. But some people take it around Christmas. It depends on the person, I guess. How is the situation with COVID in the UK? Have most people received their vaccination? So as far as I know from what I heard earlier this week, the situation with COVID has been very changeable. There has been a bit of a peak recently in terms of COVID numbers and a little bit in terms of COVID deaths. But I think that from this week, this is the end of July, the numbers are coming back down again. In terms of vaccination numbers this week, I think the figures were that 80% of adults have had both jabs, both vaccines, and that about 70% of adults have had at least one jab. So we're all moving in the right direction. I don't know if it will be 100%. Some people have decided that they probably don't want to have this vaccine and will wait until later for various different reasons. But fingers crossed, I hope that most people will be getting vaccinated. It seems the most sensible thing, in my opinion. What's the difference between the United Kingdom and Great Britain? Are Irish people British? This is a very complicated question. I will try to keep it as simple as I can, because otherwise we could be here for a number of hours. It's something that even British people find complicated. There's a lot of very complicated history behind this question. So essentially, if we look at Japan, so Japan has 4 main islands that create Japan. So you have Hokkaido, you have Honshu, Shikoku and Kyushu. So in the UK, we have 2 main islands. The first island, which is the bigger island, is Great Britain, and the second is Ireland. So within Great Britain and Ireland, there are 5 countries. So the 5 countries are England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland. So on the island of Great Britain, we have England, Scotland, and Wales. And on the island of Ireland, they have Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. So in terms of what the difference is between the UK and Great Britain, so the UK is England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So that's the United Kingdom. But Great Britain doesn't include Northern Ireland because it's only the actual name of the island. And then in terms of are Irish people British, if they come from the Republic of Ireland, then they're not. It's an independent country. It doesn't belong to the United Kingdom. Whereas Northern Ireland, which is in obviously the north part of the island, actually belongs to the United Kingdom. So these people are British as well. So are you confused yet? So essentially the difference is that the United Kingdom includes Northern Ireland and that Great Britain is only the 3 countries, England, Scotland and Wales. Why do you participate in international sporting events under different names? This is where things get interesting. So obviously right now it's July, the Olympics are happening over with you in Tokyo. And in the Olympics, actually, technically, we compete as Great Britain and Northern Ireland, so we are actually competing as the United Kingdom. So that doesn't involve Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, because they compete separately from us. When it comes to the other sporting events, there are some different theories as to why this happened, but I think the most logical of these explanations is the one that I'm going to explain. So a lot of the sports where we compete as individual countries were actually invented in England or in the United Kingdom, I think mostly in England. So for example, cricket, rugby and football being our main sports. So in this case, these sporting events were invented at a stage in our history. First of all, Ireland, the entire of the island of Ireland was part of the United Kingdom. And we were still enemies with, for example, the French and the Spanish, so people in Europe, and we were kind of isolated geographically from those countries. So when we invented the sport, we wanted people to compete against. And so if it was invented in England, then we introduced it to the Scottish and the Welsh and the Irish in order to be able to have sort of an international competition, and that's where the competitions would have started, just with those 4 countries. And so that's the reason why in football and in rugby and in cricket we compete as individual countries as opposed to competing together as the United Kingdom. So when it comes to other sports such as the Olympics and more modern sports and things like that, we basically united as a nation in order to play against the rest of the world. So there are some other examples where we play as the United Kingdom, which are, for example, the Lions rugby. The Lions team consists of the UK and the Republic of Ireland because of the fact that in rugby, Ireland play as a nation. So this is another point to make. In the rugby, the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland actually play as a team. And this is the only situation in which this happens. Is that right? It's not the only situation in which it happens, because it also happens in the football as well, and probably in the cricket, but I don't know that for sure. So, as you can see, this is an incredibly complicated situation that even is complicated for me as a British person.
The situation is so complicated that if I've got this wrong, I might have upset quite a lot of people. I hope I'm right.
So let's try and put it as simply as I can to conclude. In the football, in the rugby, and in the cricket, we compete as 4 different nations. We compete as England, Wales, Scotland, and then the entire island of Ireland. And then for things like the Olympics and other sports which are more modern, we compete as the UK, and then the Republic of Ireland is a different country. And I think, hopefully, that's correct. ASAO Language School provides lessons in a variety of different languages, so if you're interested in learning any other languages with us, please look at the link below to our website. You can get English lessons with Masa or me, and there's a couple of other English teachers as well. So if you're interested in English lessons with ASAO, please look at that link. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, please subscribe to the channel, and please leave any comments below if you have any more questions about the UK. And I'll see you next time in August. See you then.
はい、こんにちは。浅尾正です。チャッターボックスのシリーズでは主に英語の勉強に関する情報を発信しております。また、日本語教師を目指されている方にもちょっとしたねヒントをティップを提供するようなそんなコンテンツも発信しております。下の説明欄の方にリンクがありますので、そちらをクリックしていただけるといろんな追加情報が見られると思います。このシリーズ面白いと思った方はぜひグッドボタンとチャンネル登録をお願いいたします。ありがとうございました。